Hi guys, welcome to my channel. After a long hiatus, I'm back, and of course it's been hanging over my neck like an albatross that I started but never completed my State of the Collection videos. And today I am continuing that State of the Collection series with my collection of Boderry watches. Now, I have ordered over the time that I've been collecting these watches, 6 Boderry watches in total, 2 of which I gifted as wedding presents almost 2 years ago. And then I also bought the latest, the Landmaster. I'm sorry, is it the Landmaster? I guess it's not. That's the new Rolex model watch. But at any rate, I did order the black titanium field watch that Boderry released last year, and I was never able to take receipt. I've done a video about that, but Customs didn't let me have it because they lowered their import limits, and this watch, despite being in transit, I was not able to take possession of. And it took me about 8 months to get my refund, a little bit more than 50% refund. That was another bone of contention because the company itself seemed rather nonplussed that that I wanted a refund, and they weren't very eager to process the refund, but eventually, after all was said and done, they did. So let me go ahead and start with the 3 Boderry watches that I have in my possession. I've said this before. I'm not sure if it's Boderry, if it's Boderry, or what the exact pronunciation is, but Boderry seems to be the one most consistently used throughout YouTube from other reviewers. So I like the sound of Boderry, but Boderry seems to be pretty much, I think, what we can all agree on. So the very first Boderry that I bought was in response to the fact that I was unable to purchase my first titanium watch, which was the Tactical Frog FX Diver. Now, that was another watch that was rejected because it was too expensive for importation at the time. And so in response, I bought this to be my first titanium watch. And this is the Boderry Urban Titanium, and it is a skeleton watch. This watch represented several firsts for my collection in that it was my first Boderry that I purchased, my first titanium cased watch, and it was also my first and only, to this point, skeleton watch in the collection. And in addition to that, it also was the first watch that I had with a 72-hour power reserve. This is a high beat movement as well, beating at 28,800 beats per hour. So let me get into it a little bit. This titanium watch is something I received January of 2023, so I've had it more than 2 years now, and you can see that it looks basically as brand new as the day that I took possession of it. The strap has held up fabulously well, and yeah, I mean, absolutely no complaints. This is a tremendous value watch. For everything that it does, it is really an exceptional execution of materials and reliability. I've been super happy with it. It does feature a 40 millimeter case diameter. It is 12 millimeters thick. It does have a 48 millimeter lug to lug and a 20 millimeter lug thickness. It is got a sapphire crystal on the top and I believe a mineral crystal on the bottom, which is very nice. When you have a skeleton watch, it should have an exhibition case back. That is a fixed titanium bezel there. The crown in the recessed position is for hand winding, and it is only time only, so there is no date function. It is a Hangzhou 7500 movement. I guess that was another first, my first Chinese movement watch. I think I only have 2 watches with Chinese movements, this being one of them. The clasp and the strap itself are excellent. It does have a quick release mechanism there on both sides, so that's really handy. Although I have never removed this strap. I like the way that the colors coordinate. The only thing is that this butterfly clasp has pinched my skin on numerous occasions. Each time it's happened, I swore it would be the last time that it happened, but it then invariably happens again. And it's because the underside of your wrist, the skin gets tucked up in there, and because of the spring action, it is unforgiving. Once it grabs your skin, it is not letting go until you release the clasp and remove your bruised skin, and it is a pain that you really don't want to revisit. But I have probably 4 or 5 times in the time that I've owned it. Really great watch, but really inferior green loom, must be said. I think when I purchased it, it was approximately $139. I might have even gotten it for slightly less with like a first time discount code or something along those lines. And now it sells for $149, so really a tremendous value, particularly the fact that it has so much power reserve. And I have confirmed that. I have actually wound it full and let it set for 3 days, and it did. I think it might have even exceeded that by an hour or so. Yeah, tremendous value. Not easy to see the time. That must be said. Not easy to see the time, but it is more of a, yeah, it's just something fun to look at, you know. So that was a great watch, and it got me into seriously considering other Boderry watches. And so then I bought a Boderry SeaTurtle.Ocean for my friend in titanium. That was his wedding gift. And his bride received the Boderry Dragonfly. And on the back of the envy that I had that I bought him that SeaTurtle.Ocean, I decided to buy a SeaTurtle.Ocean for myself, albeit in bronze. And this is it here. I like the deep red. That's probably my favorite color. And I didn't have a bronze watch in my collection, so I figured why not? It was relatively inexpensive. I think that the time that I purchased it, it was $139, and now it's $169 on the company website. I took receipt of this in July of 2023, so nearly 2 years ownership. I've worn it infrequently. I've cleaned it a few times. It doesn't look that clean right now in terms of the oxidation on it, but I always try to remove the oxidation. One thing about a bronze watch is that it will never look as good as the day you unwrapped it from the plastic. Now, this is also a 40 millimeter watch, and it weighs in at 89 grams. It does feature a, I won't say proprietary to Boderry, but it is a proprietary brand of the, what I say, Cusinate, the CUSN8 bronze, which has a little more copper. So it looked rose gold when I first took possession of it. Now, not so much. It does feature the older version of the Miyota 8215 movement, 21 joule movement that is minus 20 to plus 40 seconds a day, and it is the non-hacking version of the 8215 movement. Now, however, Boderry has swapped out that movement for an NH35, so I think that they responded to customer complaints. Now, the dial itself does have a textured turtle shell pattern on it, and that is slightly loomed with a blue loom. I'm not certain if it's BGW9, but it's so insignificant and laughable, frankly, because within 15 seconds or so it fades. It has absolutely no staying power whatsoever. And the loom itself on the applied indices and the hands are also a blue loom. This is not something Boderry is famous for, is having really good loom. And I knew that going in. Now, the bezel itself, I believe it's 90 click instead of 120 click. I think that I went through and did that one time. It might be 120 click. One thing I notice is that when you clean this case with ketchup and water, you really have to really submerge the watch in water after you do your cleaning regimen, because sometimes the ketchup gets under the bezel, and then when the watch dries, the bezel's frozen in place. So whereas ketchup is a great, I laughed when I first heard that. Ketchup is a great substance to use for cleaning these bronze cases. Unfortunately, it does find its way underneath the bezel, and then that can sort of be a problem on its own. The brown leather strap is pretty great. It's extra thick, but it is soft. It has not failed me at all. This appears to be a stainless steel clasp, and it does have a stainless steel case back, as you would expect, given the fact that you don't want bronze next to your skin as much as you can avoid it. And I usually do have some green skin at the end of the day. It does have this cool little sea turtle there emerging from the water. I guess I have it upside down. And this watch was meant to raise awareness of microplastics in the ocean and the effect that it has on marine life. In this case, the sea turtle. I'm not certain if they donated money for the removal of microplastics from the ocean, but it is something that they included in the verbiage selling this watch. It does have a nice bronze set of hands and bronze framing around the date window, so I really like that. It does only feature 100 meters of water resistance, so that's a little bit, for a dive watch, you probably would expect double that. Sapphire crystal, in case I didn't mention, which does have an anti-reflective coating. This watch has 5 atmospheres of water resistance, so 50 meters, but of course that's not something you take in the water when it has a push-pull crown, as it does, and a leather bracelet. This does have a screw-down crown and screw-down case back, in case I hadn't pointed that out. Loom on that pip there, but this is not a loom monster by any stretch of the imagination, and so in that regard, perhaps a little disappointing. I think the loom is probably more disappointing than, or perhaps the water resistance is more disappointing than the loom that they use. It feels like this should be at least a 200 meter water resistant watch. Nonetheless, it is a watch that I wear infrequently, usually to coordinate with an outfit that I intend to wear. And it isn't bad. I mean, all things considered for the price, it's nice to have a bronze watch and not pay an arm and a leg for it, because it doesn't really look that great, in my opinion. The patina, I know that's a thing that people favor, but I don't really need that, in my collection, a watch that looks sort of perpetually distressed or dirty. All right, so these aren't going to cooperate with me. And then finally, I added the Admiral GMT to my collection, and this is one of my favorite watches. It is a watch that I wore extensively after I took possession of it, and that happened in May of 2024, so I've had it almost a year, and I know I wore it pretty consistently for probably about the first couple of months. It is also in titanium, and it does feature a titanium Jubilee style bracelet. Really an excellent watch. I love the white dial. It really helped with legibility. And I really love the aluminum bezel insert. I thought that was great too, and sort of that retro theme rather than having a ceramic bezel insert. It is also a, I want to say 40 millimeter, 40 millimeter case, not including the crown, of course. And it does feature 13 millimeters of case thickness. The lug to lug is right about 49 to 50. It sort of sits between 49 and 50 millimeters. Maybe it's a 49.5 millimeter lug to lug and 20 millimeter lug width. The bracelet is executed really well. It is high polish in those 3 center links, and I understand that that's not easy to do with titanium, to high polish titanium. The Bezel itself is also high polished, really, really well done. The clasp is, it has not failed me. It's a decent clasp, but of course there are no micro adjusts, so that's a little bit disappointing. It is a steel clasp, obviously, whereas it is a titanium bracelet. Really nice screw down case pack with the Admiral's insignia. That's a star in case nobody knows. And it does feature a sapphire crystal again with a anti-reflective coating. The lume on this watch is blue. It is not spectacular lume, but it's not bad. The bezel is also lumed as well, so that's a really nice touch. It is by far superior to the Urban that I have and the SeaTurtle in terms of luminescence, so that's a really good thing. There is a date there between the 3 and the 4. It's really subtle, well executed, uncluttered dial, applied indices. I really like that. Yeah, it's a great watch. All things considered, I paid, I believe, $149 for it. Now it's $169, so the price has gone up. But it's worth, it's worth every dollar of it. The one idiosyncrasy with this particular watch, it does contain the NH34 GMT movement. However, when I unscrew the watch to wind it, to set it, there is a problem when I attempt to reseat the crown that the minute hand continues to sweep around the dial as though I'm time setting. So for some reason it doesn't disengage the time setting lever, and I have to mess with it a couple times before I can finally screw it back down without it messing with the time. And it's just one of those unfortunate circumstances. I don't know if it has something to do with the length of the stem that the crown is attached to, or if it's some idiosyncrasy with the time setting lever itself. So it is something, I wore it pretty consistently for the first couple months, principally because of that. I didn't want to constantly be messing with the time setting every time I pulled it out. So I just wore it for a couple months straight, just to enjoy it as it was, because I wasn't sure if it might fail on me in the future. So that is one concern that I do have. All of the finishing on the case is satin brush finish, and you can see there on the side of the links, they're also satin finished. The case back does have some high polish. It's really, really, as I said, really very well executed watch. And I think it weighs in with the bracelet at 117 grams. So, my overall impression is that it is a fantastic watch because they're not overtly copying one thing over another. And, it's great. I mean, I probably would have preferred to have the crown at the 3 o'clock position, but all things considered, it's not bad. Really, really well done. It does feature, I guess, a Japan luminova, so that's an interesting sort of thing. And this does have a water resistance to 200 meters, so exactly what I wish would have been the case with the SeaTurtle.Ocean here that I have. So my overall impressions is that Boderry is doing really great things. They don't really do homage watches per se. They kind of have their own flavor, and I think that they're excellent value. If it weren't for the fact that I had such difficulty getting the refund, and for the fact that I can't import any watches anymore, I would definitely have added one or two more. And my friend Peter, who I gifted the SeaTurtle Titanium to, he has added one or two more Boderrys to his collection. He has a bronze Admiral, and he's also ordered, I believe, a pink dial Admiral too. So he'll have two Admirals, one with the pink dial in titanium, and then of course his bronze titanium. So he apparently really likes it, and I'm glad to hear it. So guys, thanks for coming out. I have about 90 gigabytes of data that expires today, so I'm going to film another video here shortly. But I want to thank you for coming out. It's been a long hiatus, and You know, of course, I'm very thankful to all the people who have subscribed to my channel and who continue to comment. And I hope to see you soon. Probably not with new watches, but more just state of the collection. All right, cheers, everybody.